Hello. I just taught a class for the Wake County Public Library 2 days ago and didn't record the class because it wasn't mine to record. It was for the Wake County Library. But I thought I have got such great content here. I've got a lot of people asking for it. I know that my friends and people I know might be interested in this. So today we're going to jump into it. I'm just going to give you the information for an Apple iPhone rather than for Apple and Android. When I taught my class, I did teach ideas for both. Some of the apps I use will be congruent for both of them, but I will speak with an Apple in mind because that's the device I know, and that's the one that's going to be easiest for me to demonstrate. So if you have an Android, you're going to have to extrapolate this information for yourself, but the basic principles are still the same. So how can we make the phone less overwhelming? I've got 4 steps, and I'm going to go through them with you right now. The first step is called decluttering. This is, if you're seeing my slides right now, this is my favorite slideshow GIF because how many of us feel so proud of the things that we have in our camera roll and we go to use it and it looks like a hoarder's kitchen. So how can we get rid of the non-emotional, easy to get to clutter first before we start having to make actual decisions and work through it in a slower process? Well, I have got some great information for you. I'm going to plug in my phone right now so that I can demonstrate this for you. It is a little bit awkward to have to teach you using my own camera roll on my phone. I'm looking now and see about 7 pictures of me from this morning with this Dunkin' coffee cup. If that doesn't illustrate the problem, I don't know what does. So, Apple's first pass, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use Apple's technology for eliminating duplicates. Now, here's what's awesome about it. What's awesome about it is a very smart process. It's going to look on your phone and it's going to realize, wow, she downloaded this picture from Dropbox at 18 megabytes with all of the data built into it, like location and size and specs of the file. And also, she texted a version to her mom, and that one's much smaller and doesn't have the data, but now my camera roll has both. How do I delete the right one? Well, what Apple does is it reads those 2 files that match exactly, and they do have to match exactly. They can't just be within the same fraction of a second. They do have to be literal overlapping pixel for pixel duplicates. It's going to create a super file. So there is a tool called duplicates. It's in your photos. I'm going to show you in just a second. But what I need you to understand it's doing is it's taking the file with the data and the largest file and this piece over here and making sure that what you have left behind is a super photo, one that brings in both the data and the largest file size. And of course, all of that metadata like your location, your time, all of those pieces. It's going to make one super file. The downside is it's not as aggressive. So it's not going to get screenshots unless they're exact duplicates. It's not going to get blurry photos. It's not going to get memes. Android does that significantly better, but again, not an Android class today. So how do we do this for our iPhones? Let me go ahead and show you. Now I've got my phone plugged in and you should be, yes, you should be looking at my camera roll on my phone. So here's just the apps on my phone. Here's me clicking into photos. I'm going to scroll down here and you will see it says utilities and then it says duplicates down there, 2,251 duplicates. I'm going to click on duplicates. You can see here at the top, I've got 2 versions of a photo clearly I downloaded and sent to my dad. I know because I was trying to convince him to build a hammock farm on his property. So I don't need both of those. What I can do now is I can just click merge, and it's going to merge those 2 exact copies into just one photo. I can do that as many times as I want. You can see I've got some client photographs on here. One's coming in at 17.2 megabytes. The other one is coming in at 10 megabytes. It's going to combine that, make sure we have the largest, best file left behind. So that is a very, very simple. Now, I just deleted those one at a time. I would not suggest doing it one at a time. You can actually click select in this top right-hand corner, top left-hand corner, click select all. It is now going to select all of them. And if you click merge, it's going to eat up some data and some time on your phone. So make sure you're plugged in, make sure you're connected to Wi-Fi. If you do not have this duplicates folder, there is a known bug, and I can't help you through all of the pieces of that bug, but I can say it's always worked for me. But if you do have trouble accessing that duplicates folder, probably a couple things are at play. One, your photos aren't completely done indexing, meaning you've got something that's going back and forth between your iCloud. Maybe you've got some stuff that's still going off into storage. That's why you're going to want to make sure you're on Wi-Fi. If you don't have enough battery, so you want to make sure that you're plugged in when you're trying to do this, you also are going to need a decent amount of working memory available on your phone. So make sure you have enough space that it can conduct those actions. If you're having problems beyond that and still not seeing the duplicates folder, take it to Chat Girly, take it to Google, take it to YouTube. One of those will be able to help you a little bit better than I can today. First step, don't get emotionally attached. You're not even deleting anything. You're just combining duplicates. That's it. So that's already going to save me, what was it, like 2,000 photos? If you listen to nothing else I say, please, please, please clue in to this next part. What we're experiencing in your camera roll is every single photograph. And now what I need you to do is kind of two steps at the same time. On one side, you're deleting the ones that you don't need. In a second, we'll look at my 8 embarrassing selfies from this morning, and you will be able to see that I have no need to keep probably any of those photographs. But if I wanted to keep one, I want to put it in a place that I know how to access it later. We're going to talk about how do you sort through those. How do you delete the ones that you're not using so you can get rid of most of the clutter just by making those decisions? And then where can you put those photographs into albums on your iPhone so that when you go to do your senior slideshow, you're just clicking on trips or you're just clicking on kids, and now it's bringing up all of the photographs, maybe 5,000 of them, but still 5,000 that you've gone through, that you know that you like, that will be listed in date or time order because that's how your phone works. You've not deleted anything you didn't need. It's all right there cultivated for you. Now, the trouble is we are used to thinking of albums like photo albums. Please, please, please listen to this part, please. We're used to thinking of them like photo albums. If you did a photo album, you would do it for my senior year or for your wedding or for your baby or for your trip to Disney. And you probably have albums that are hyper specific to some one day, one time, one event, one memory, one person. We're going to break that today because we don't want your phone albums to be that specific or theme-based or time-based. We want them to be like broad categories. Trust me, you're only going to have 10 to 20 albums. Right now, someone is listening to this thinking, one, either that's crazy, or two, well, that's fine for her, but I'm not going to do it that way. Or three, well, I've always been doing it this way, so I'm not going to switch. I'm going to convince you now to switch. If you went to a record store or a music store or the grocery store and you needed to find trash bags, so I guess you're at the grocery store in this analogy. You're walking the aisles, you're trying to find trash bags. Well, if they hyper labeled every single aisle so that you had an aisle for laundry and an aisle for home cleaning and an aisle for storage and organization and an aisle for plastic products, then which aisle would you go down to find trash bags? Probably wouldn't 100% know. First of all, you'd be overwhelmed with choices. Second of all, trash bags could maybe go in a few different places. So which one is the right one? Well, now instead of doing that, what I want you to think about is going into a grocery store and doing what we actually do, which is find the broad category dry goods or international foods or cleaning supplies that gets you the closest to what you're looking for so that you can get in that aisle and do the looking around. We don't need hyper-specific points to go to every single image. If you did that, you would be completely overwhelmed. You just need to create aisles to walk down so you know what to put in that aisle and you know where to go to find it. So no more than 10 to 20 albums. Trust me, believe me, it's harder than it seems, but it is also will set you free and make the process moving forward a lot easier. Your question is going to be, where would I look for this? Let me give you some examples. So my album structure, no one taught me a class on how to do storing and organizing on my camera roll. I came up with this myself. When I created an album structure, I did it. I'm very people-based. The people in my life are probably what I'm photographing the most. You'll actually see on my list, I don't even think I have something called trips or vacations. I've got best friend in there. I've got my husband. I've got friends. I've got my parents. I've got different sets of grandparents. But again, I just started it the way I started, and now I'm living with this structure. If I was to go with a little bit more intention, let me give you some suggestions. Again, you only get 10 to 20. You're going to pick the aisle categories that label your store so you can just generally send people in the right direction. Let's say you are a very proud grandparent and you have 4 kids and 8 grandchildren. I do not want you to make an album called Kids and an album called Grandkids. And I really, really, really don't want you to make an album called Mason, Bryson, Cece. I don't want albums for each of these people. Because what happens when Mason and Bryson take a picture together? Now what album does that go in? Are you going to make a whole album for brothers? And then is that all brothers? Is that like my uncle and my dad? Is that also brothers? No, you're going to make a big category, maybe one called family, and that's just your immediate family, and one called extended family, and that's everybody else. It might have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6,000 photographs in it. Your aisle or your album might feel very, very crowded, but again, you're going to know it's there. If I've saved it, it could only be here, rather than saying, oh, well, did we take that really cute picture of the boys at the lake or when we were on vacation, or was that at your parents' house? It doesn't matter. Now you're just going to open up that folder called extended family, and you'll know that it's going to be in there. I don't want to belabor that, but I do want to emphasize again, one more time, you are not creating an album for every event. You are only creating albums for broad categories, the broadest broad category. Finally, don't overthink it. If you are on a trip, but it's a cute picture of the extended family, does it go into trips or extended family? Most likely you would put it in the most specific one, trips, but I want you to go with whatever makes the most sense to you. Let's talk about my super favoriteest, most amazingest app that I love, and it is called Slidebox. It is available for both Apple and Android. I considered a lot of options. I tried to come up with a way that was not a paid option because I don't super love telling people that they have to spend money to do the things that I'm teaching them. Let me show you why I love Slidebox. And this is probably the best meat and potatoes of this presentation. So for Slidebox, let's go over here to my phone, which is still plugged in. Let's see here. Excellent. Okay. So we are still plugged into my phone right now. Again, kind of cringy to show you my photos, but here we go. Okay. So now I am in Slidebox. Let me see. Yes. Perfect. Okay. So you can see photographs I took this time last year up there at the top. You can see my list of albums. I just clicked on albums in the top right. These are my albums I was telling you about earlier. And here is all of my unsorted photographs, 33,262. So let's go into all unsorted. Now it's going to pull up my photograph from just this morning, January 15th at 8:15. This outfit, this drink. Do I want to save this long term? No, I don't. I'm not bringing this with me into the future. That is the first and most essential question you are asking yourself. Is this content that I'm keeping? What I love about Slidebox is I can just click and swipe, and it's going to make it a lot easier. If I was to do this manually, I would have to click on the photograph, I would have to click delete, and then I would have to click yes, or I would have to click on the photograph, I would have to click move to, then I would have to select the album, and then I would have to click yes. That 4 or 5 steps for every single photograph is very burdensome. We want to make this as fast as possible. So I can click delete. I don't want to keep that one. I don't want to keep that one. Here we go. This is embarrassing. Okay, now let's see. I've got several of these. I've got 4 there. That is 4 different images of me with my coffee this morning. I don't want to keep any of them. Now, I do rather love this photograph, and I am saving it for a particular reason. So I'm going to go ahead and put this. I'm going to keep this one. Do I want this one or this one? I'm using my left and right thumb back and forth, swipe left, swipe right to look at my options. I am going to delete this one. Let's say this is the one I want to keep. Down here at the bottom, I have all of those albums. Now you can see why I don't want more than 10 or 20. And I'm just going to click the bottom arrow right across the top of Scenic. I'm going to click that, and it's gone down into that album. So now let's say I do want to keep this one. I'm going to drop it in behind the scenes. And there's me. It says, are you finished organizing? Do you want to delete these 11 photos that you designated for the trash? Yes, I do. I want to go ahead and delete those. One of the things that I absolutely love about Slidebox is it is native to my phone. Every action that I'm doing in Slidebox is actually happening inside my phone. So the deleted is going into my regular trash bin. The photos that I have are going into my regular iPhone albums. I'm not going to have to log into some website to get access to them later. There's no juggling of the third partiness of this. It is all happening native to my phone, and that's why I love it. Now you'll see I've dropped down a few of my unsorted photographs. I think we took care of 11 of them. I could pick this up at any time, and it's going to pick up where I left off. There we go. There's my photo that was unsorted. Let's say that I just can't decide. Do I want to keep it? Do I want to delete it? I don't know. I'm really torn. I'm really conflicted. I can't figure out which album to put it into, but I do really kind of feel like I want to keep it. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to swipe left. It's going to stay in my camera roll. I can make a decision about it later. I want you to do that rather than making a folder just called miscellaneous. Don't create an album called miscellaneous. Do not. There's no miscellaneous aisle in the grocery store. They all have labels. So if you have a number of them, you can't figure out where you want to put them, but you do know that you want to keep them in there. Don't delete them and don't sort them. They will stay in your unsorted. Once you start to realize the thing that all of those pieces have in common, then you can go ahead and save that to a new album that you've named with whatever name is appropriate. I want to just run back and make sure that we are all on the same page about what's happening. You are doing a couple steps. We've walked through them. First, you did the declutter step. Done. Second, you're going to decide which albums you want to have. You're going to create those albums. You're going to create those albums either inside Slidebox or in your camera roll, however you want to do it, however you would normally create an album. Then what you're going to do after you've got your 10 to 20 albums, you're going to open up something like Slidebox. Again, it's my favorite. There might be other ones out there. You're going to open up Slidebox and you're going to go ahead and start sorting through. It is not about taking 33,000 photographs and putting all 33,000 into albums. It's about going through that clutter of the 33,000, seeing how much you can delete, how much you don't really need, how many were duplicates. Remember, we were swiping back and forth to look at the different options before making a choice. That is incredibly easy. So in addition to deleting the junk that you really just don't want to bring with you into the future, the ones that are special that you do want to keep, you're filing them down into albums. One of the great questions I got when I was teaching this class was, what happens? It looks like they're still all in my camera roll. Yes, your camera roll will continue to be the big messy floor that contains everything. So just because I sorted something into an album, it hasn't disappeared from my camera roll to go into that album. It is actually now going to just show up both places. It's going to show up in my camera roll and it's going to show up in that album. I have it both places. The great thing about that is if I ever deleted an album, those images aren't deleted with it. They are still out there unsorted now into my camera roll. So you can't delete anything by just deleting the album. Let's talk about deleting though. Let's say I deleted a photograph just now in this last pass and I think, oh gosh darn it, why did I delete that one? You can always get it back. You have 30 days where that photo sits in your trash on your phone and you can decide to bring it back at any time within that 30 days. All right, favorites, rounding home here. We're going to get you across the finish line. Slidebox actually has a swipe that lets you favorite a photograph. If you have a photo that you almost can picture it before you even look at it in your phone, that is a clue, that is a sign, that is definitely one of the ones you want to mark as a favorite. Favorites is like your super bestest, ones you love the most, ones you're most likely to print, ones you would love to put in this slideshow one day for your high school senior or their wedding or whatever. These are your super favorites. This is going beyond just keeping it, going beyond assigning it to the right folder so you can look at it later. This is something that you have really cultivated because at any point you can open up your favorites and that will be a smaller grouping of your super, super favoriteest. It's just another way of sorting. You can call anything a favorite. If it's in an album, it can be a favorite. If it's a camera roll, it can be a favorite. When you go into your photos, you click favorites, it will pull anything that you've labeled that way. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to mean it matters. Finally, rounding home, how are we going to maintain this and what are the best practices? First of all, you're not behind. I have 33,000, I think I said, photographs in my camera roll. People who were in my class just a few days ago, the winner had over 100,000 photographs in her camera roll. You're going to crank through files way faster than you think you will, especially when it's gesture based and it's really just easy there in Slidebox. I want you to start current day. So I want you to start at the end of your camera roll, the photographs you just took yesterday or this morning, because those are going to be the ones that are easiest to make decisions about. You're going to be the least emotional about things that just happened. So I want you to build your strength. I want you to build your courage by going back through ones that are current day. When you've got 10 to 15 minutes, you're looking, you're scrolling, you're mindlessly looking at something, think about doing this instead. You'll get that 10 to 15 minutes could mean sorting 1,000 photographs. And next thing you know, you are way ahead on making this progress that you need. Final thoughts, last things I want to make sure that you have before I send us on our way. Reminder, you cannot delete something important and not get back to it. So let's say you accidentally deleted something. First of all, Slidebox, if you realized it right away, Slidebox has an undo, so it'll bring it right back. If it got from that, it got deleted, and you confirmed the delete within Slidebox, it still goes into a folder called deleted photos, which was, by the way, right in that lineup with duplicates that I showed you earlier. That will sit there for 30 days. And for those 30 days, those files will still be there. They will eventually get purged out, which is, of course, what we want. But if in that time frame you realize that you'd made a mistake, it's very unlikely, by the way, but if it did happen, you could get it back. You are not too far behind. You're starting at the beginning. It is going to be such a relief. Won't my albums be too big? Absolutely not. So let's say you have 8,000 photos in just one album. Your brain's going to say, oh, too much. I'm curious what that number will be for each of us because everybody has that feeling at some number. It is not. Remember, you have already deleted the junk. So if there are 5,000 photographs of your extended family that you love and they're in that album, you know there's no junk in there. It's still sorted by year. It's way easier than going through 35 or 40 or 50 or 100,000 photographs. And you know it's specifically what you're looking for. Is it a very long Costco aisle? Yes, but do you have enough context clues to get really quickly to the thing you're looking for? Also, yes. So you can't have too many photos in an album. Finally, we talked about this. Where do I start, oldest or newest? I want you to start with your newest images. They are the ones you're least emotionally attached to. All right, so that is it for my little rundown for you guys today. There is a ton of other information. Let me just show you real quickly. There is one other thing I want to show you. Well, this will just be a tag on. Is this about sorting photos? It's not, but it is super helpful. So I'm pulling up my phone again now, but let me show you here. Now, if I do search in this top right-hand corner, let's do search. I can search for anything. I could search for flowers. And it's going to pull up any instance with flowers in my camera roll. I could search for dog. And it's going to pull up any picture of a dog. I can pull up my favorite school. Let's see if there's anything for Carey Academy. Now, it will also pull up anything that says Carey Academy. Oh, look, there is my graduation photo. Look at that. And what has it done? It has read Carey Academy on the front of that podium. And that's how it knows where I was. So the search tool is incredibly powerful. You could look up Easter eggs. Look at that. And there are Easter photos with Easter eggs. So that search tool is a really powerful tool. Okay, that's it for that. I just wanted to make sure I gave you that one extra little plus up. I hope this has been helpful for you. You can always reach out to me. If we don't real life know each other, I'm Teresa Porter. I am a photographer in Cary, North Carolina. I love to teach, I love to help my folks out, and I love to make sure that when you have beautiful images you love, you can enjoy them. I would be the one that I would love to create those for you, but if you also have them on your phone, the best camera to me is the one that you have with you. I want you to be able to have and enjoy your images, whether they're from me or they're just on your phone. Let's keep them from being trapped in the digital atmosphere. All right. Hope this has been helpful for you guys today. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.